Hi, I'm Ron DeParmesan and you're watching News Cats. On September 1st, 2024, the Israel Defense Forces, widely known as the IDF, announced a grim discovery from the ongoing conflict in Gaza. They reported the recovery of 23-year-old Hersh Goldberg-Polin's body from a Hamas tunnel in Rafah, located in the southern Gaza Strip. Hersh was one of 6 hostages executed shortly before their bodies were found, leaving a trail of grief and anger among families and the public alike. Alongside Hersh were fellow victims Eden Yerushalmi, Ori Danino, Alex Lubnov, Carmel Gat, and Almog Sarusi. This tragic event has intensified an already fraught atmosphere in the region, with Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu vowing revenge against Hamas for these horrific acts. This situation underscores the brutal complexities of hostage crises intertwined with military operations in Gaza. Hersh Goldberg-Polin's story serves as a haunting reminder of the human toll in this conflict. Captured in the violent chaos of the October 7th attacks during the Supernova Desert Rave, he briefly celebrated Simchat Torah with his family before the party turned disastrous. Just minutes before being taken hostage, he sent his parents heartfelt messages via WhatsApp, expressing his love and concern for their safety. His final communication raised serious alarm bells, highlighting the growing fear for his well-being. The Goldbergs have since waged an intense campaign for answers, desperately seeking information about Hersh's fate as their family navigated a nightmare that they never anticipated. Prime Minister Netanyahu's response was straightforward and uncompromising. In a video address following the discovery, he declared decisive retaliatory action would be executed against Hamas. He stated, "We will hold Hamas accountable for their cold-blooded murder of the hostages." His words reflect the dire need to project strength, aiming to reassure a public increasingly frustrated with the government's handling of hostage negotiations. Netanyahu also faces fierce criticism from families of the victims demanding accountability regarding the decisions made during this ongoing war and what strategies the government is employing to ensure the safe recovery of the remaining hostages. Tensions arose when reports surfaced that many hostages were still held in deplorable conditions, raising the stakes for military and diplomatic efforts moving forward. The military operations connected to these tragic outcomes deserve close scrutiny. Following the abduction crisis that began with the October 7th assaults, the IDF has conducted extensive operations in Gaza, incorporating aerial bombardments aimed specifically at Hamas targets. The conflict has resulted in dire humanitarian conditions, with estimates suggesting that approximately 36,801 Palestinians have been killed since the beginning of the Israeli military's offensive for 5-source. Autopsies performed on the recently recovered hostages indicated that all had suffered gunshot wounds, confirming execution-style killings that evoke horror. As the families of the victims call for public demonstrations urging the government to take decisive action, the public outcry indicates a growing fracture in trust regarding how the leadership is handling hostage negotiations amidst overwhelming violence. Expanding on the ramifications of this incident, the Israeli-Palestinian conflict may face a turning point. This situation not only exemplifies the brutal reality of militarized hostage crises, but also raises deep questions about government policies surrounding captivity and military engagement. There have been reports of approximately 250 hostages taken since the October attacks, with families still yearning for news and clarity about their loved ones. It's a desperate time, with many families voicing their frustrations and demands for justice. The approaching waves of public protests could lead to broader scrutiny of government actions, with citizens increasingly vocal about their calls for effective negotiations and necessary transparency. As families and supporters rally for answers, the urgency surrounding this situation is palpable. The heartbreaking fate of her son has left Rachel Goldberg openly grieving. She was quoted saying, "Our son was not just a number, he was a cherished member of our family who deserved to come home." With the political landscape increasingly complex, coupled with calls for mass demonstrations against the government, one cannot help but wonder, when will this cycle of violence end? At this critical juncture, many believe the road to peace may be further obscured by increasing division and despair among those impacted by the conflict. As these events unfold, the question remains, how will the government address the growing public outcry and the humanitarian needs arising from this catastrophic situation? What are your thoughts on this unfolding situation? Share your views in the comments below and make sure to subscribe for updates as we continue to cover this tale of sorrow, resilience, and the deeply human quest for peace in an area long marred by conflict. I'm Ron de Parmesan, and this has been another Newscat special report. Thank you for watching, and don't go far because another breaking story is right around the corner. Wow wow!